Theater of the Mind is a dark horror comedy podcast played with D&D 5e. It has explicit themes and viewer discretion is advised. Content themes or trigger warnings are in the podcast description.
Welcome to Theater of the Mind. My name is Mike. I'm your Dungeon Master this evening, and this week's episode is going to start a little bit differently. With this being our 21st episode, I wanted to give a quick recap of the road so far. Also, this episode was initially part of episode 20, but we ended up running very long, so there's no group question this time. Anyway, our road so far. April 1st, 2023, 5 strangers end up in a bar together in Grand Junction, Colorado. While dining, they watch on the TV as a portal opens up in a Boston stadium, and a dark man in a hooded outfit carrying a large scythe steps out. Very shortly after, all power goes out. No technology seems to work at all. The 5 strangers quickly jump to action, forming an impromptu team, trying to rescue folks from their vehicles and aid the local PD. As they're doing so, a train crashes just south of them. As the team goes about trying to help mitigate the disaster, Emery Lee realizes she has access to magic powers. Once they realize the wreck is non-salvageable, they evacuate the area and eventually find themselves at Mel Kelly's dorm. While there, Mel finds herself in a conversation with a mysterious dark figure. The figure offers her power in exchange for 5 favors. With little more thought, she agrees. The next day, the dark figure asks for the first favor. Save a young boy and deliver him to a white church. Mel and the team manage to save the boy, and though heavily battered, they manage to make it to Elliot's ranch. They use their time at the ranch to try to better grasp their powers, and while there, they meet a group of traveling elves. The elves let them know that the dark man with the scythe is a conqueror named Amoritar, and that he has come to conquer this world. Shortly thereafter, James and Emery just barely manage to rob a liquor store, and on their way back to the ranch, they see a ghost raising some zombies. They rush to the ranch, and the team has their first showdown with the undead. They emerge victorious with a heavily aged Emery, but through the elves' generosity, they are able to restore her to her previous condition. The elves say that the undead are Amoritar's army being rose from the dead, and the elves flee. The team decides it is up to them to try to stop Amoritar, and so they hit the road for Boston. Their first stop is in Rifle, Colorado to acquire more bows, but they are briefly interrupted by the Richardson Boys, a group of would-be bandits that the team dispatches with little effort. Afterwards, the Boyer they met tasks them with a fetch quest to gather supplies for their bows that takes them to the North Country. While up there, they meet a creepy young man named Griff that they feel confident is a werewolf. After a tense conversation, he heads to town and has about a day's head start on them. Once back in town, they spend a day hunting for silver and arrowhead materials and are questioned aggressively by the local sheriff regarding the murder of the Richardson boys. The line of question ultimately leads them to divulging their information on the undead to the sheriff, and in an attempt to prove their case, they help him re-kill the Richardson boys, who have risen from the dead in the local morgue. Having gained the sheriff's trust, the crew goes to camp and hears the screams of a werewolf attack. They manage to put down the monster, but not before Olnok is bitten. After a fairly chaotic visit to the hospital, where it is shown that the wound Olnok sustained is healing remarkably fast, they decide to push east, hoping to make progress to Amoritar or to find a way to cure Olnok. Their search brings them to a fairy circle in the woods governed by an Eladrin. She tasks the crew with bringing her a precious stone from a deep mine, and in exchange, she offers to share as much information as she has regarding Olmoc's affliction. In the mine, they end up fighting a creature named a Drider, and Emery shows just how unstable her magic powers are. In spite of this chaos, the team is able to recover the stone, and the Eladrin shares her information. She tells them of a convent in the mountains containing holy peoples who may be able to help lift Olmoc's curse. The team then heads off in search of that convent. Upon their arrival, they are immediately set on edge when they realize the room they've been allowed to stay on is being watched from a painting and that they've been locked in. We join them the morning after as Mel uses her powers to wake Olmoc and James from their slumber.
And then I messaged them from the door.
Son of a bitch!
Don't do that shit, man!
Good morning!
Oh, that's cruel.
And now she's gotten even for them scaring Jacob.
That's fantastic.
Okay, I'm definitely up.
I'm sure that was enough for Elliot to
Yeah.
go,
Wow.
Even with how
Oh, that
muffled
was-
these walls are, it's not that muffled.
he's going to kind of giggle.
I swear.
And very quietly under his breath say, good one, Mel.
Okay.
It
Swear.
turns out that Mel's answer to the question of who she wants to humiliate is Olmocc and James.
Well, you know, in all fairness, when that question was asked, they had not been scaring the child.
That's true.
If you do that again,
I was just trying to be honest with the child.
There's such a thing as too much honesty.
I disagree, but that's not my problem.
I swear, if you wake us
That's
up like
our
that
problem,
again,
I guess. I don't know how to, whatever.
I'm going to throw your phone so far it will never receive reception again.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's another knock on the door.
Good morning,
Punched myself in the-
sunshine.
Freaking-
So at that knock, Elliot's going to go up to the door and he's going to attempt to open it. He's pretty sure it's locked, but he's still going to attempt to open
It opens.
it. It now opens.
Mhm.
Opens the door.
And you
Kind
see,
of blinking.
uh,
His hair's askew.
it's
Morning.
another nun. It's not Sister Aether. And this one has a stack of fresh garb. Sister Aether mentioned that you had been traveling for some time. We have fresh, clean clothes if you would like, just to try to make your stay as comfortable as possible. If you wish, we do have a laundry in our basement we can clean. Particularly, wow, all of your clothes could use some washing if you would like. We would be happy to. It would take but the afternoon. We would have it back to you this evening. But whatever makes
She's
you the
not
most
wrong.
comfortable.
And Elliot will take the linen. Thank you for your services. We'll grab these linen for now. We've got a couple. We've got some things we need to take care of that are quite urgent. But we'll get in touch with you later if we need services. Thank you.
If you would like us to wash them, if you would just stack them near the door. We don't want to intrude any more than necessary. If we see your clothes by the door, we'll assume you want them cleaned, and we will take care of that.
That'll be perfect. Thank you. And I'm actually going to take the stack of linens and I'm going to set them on the floor so that the door cannot close.
Okay.
And he's going to do it, knowing that's rather rude, but at the moment he's pretty pissed off about the door being locked.
She won't. She'll just kind of stand nervously, kind of wringing her hands.
Thank you. You can. I'm sure you're quite busy. We'll take care of this.
This is the female quarters. For everybody's decency and discretion, the women aren't supposed to see into men's living quarters.
Oh goodness, that makes sense. And he'll take the top linen and he'll like hang it up off the door and go, okay, that I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you're quite busy. Have a wonderful morning. Maybe we'll see you for breakfast.
You will, yes. Sister Aether will be here shortly.
Ah, perfect.
She kind of backs up from the door a little bit.
Okay. And
You
I'm
can
just gonna
go.
kind of stretch and go, oh, that's better.
It's we're good. You can
Can I-
do the going.
Am I able to see, like, if I walk up to like to join this? Am I able to see the outside of the external doorknob at all, like in mechanism or anything for like a lock?
Sure. Yeah.
Does it look like something that I would be able to pick?
That depends on how well you're rolling now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. It
That's
definitely
fair.
does.
Let's
Especially with me.
investigate. How she's still there.
Yeah.
The door's propped.
Ah,
I'm gonna say
I'm going to
Unless you
be
can tell me
admiring
something
the
really
craftsmanship
clever.
of the door.
you're gonna investigate at disadvantage.
I was just like admiring the craftsmanship of the door.
That's not suspicious
This is
at
a
all.
nice door.
It's a nice
That's
door.
just like
Yeah, the
fun.
doors on the front has some excellent knockers. Anyway, investigating at disadvantage. Here we go. That is an 11 and a 13, so a total of 16.
You have a +5 to investigate.
Yes, I do. I'm pretty sure I have the highest intelligence in the group, which is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not entirely great, is it?
It's higher than mine.
What you get for that is there is very obviously a locking mechanism on the exterior part of the door.
Mhm.
It does not line up to anything on the inside.
Okay. It doesn't look like an actual click thing. It looks more like stereotypical hole.
Or like a latch that slides
There is
across.
a fairly durable latch, and you can tell that there's some sort of mechanics beyond involved in securing that latch.
Gotcha.
It doesn't look like a lock you've encountered.
Gotcha.
This is not a stick a key and it unlocks kind of thing. This is something else.
Probably one.
You are 1,000% confident with what you see. Nothing on the inside of your door lines up with this.
Okay.
I think when we go down to breakfast, we take everything with us. We don't leave anything behind in this room.
yep.
Yeah. Ew.
And shortly thereafter, you do hear footsteps leaving, almost perfectly synchronized with their set coming up to the door. And then,
Well, come on in. It's open.
and it's Sister Aether. Yes, I do. I see that. I now understand why Sister Demetra was so frazzled. We have taken a very strict vow of chastity. We don't even see into the men's living quarters.
I can assure you, you're not missing anything.
Apologies
We
with our
fully agree.
Ouch.
recent traveling.
Bro.
The unfortunate odor that we have since procured on our travels, we figured that we would help air out the room for us. We had the door open and the window open to attempt to facilitate fresh air.
It was a little mild.
We are
Sorry.
more than happy to facilitate the cleaning of your clothing as well. You in particular, looking at Old Knock.
Are you still in super bloody clothes?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think I changed. That's actually highly probable.
Despite your comfort with it, I mean no offense. Your clothes could use a washing. We would be happy to facilitate that. We'll have it back to you tonight at the absolute latest. We have a laundry within our facilities.
Can I do an insight check to see whether or not we'd actually get our clothes back?
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm paranoid now.
Can we do an insight check to see if we'll be in any condition to wear them?
I think that's being clairvoyant, and I don't think that works. Anyway, 17.
She fully believes that your laundry will be cleaned satisfactorily and returned to you in a timely fashion.
She's not wrong.
They could use with the wash.
Everything
Yeah.
could use a wash.
I'm getting kind of funky. I'm pretty sure
Kinda.
the blood is coagulated, so that's cool.
You're starting to smell like dog.
Yep.
That's not your fault.
No, it's not. Well, 100%.
It's
my
not
fault.
entirely your fault. But
It's
anyway,
like
And you
64.
are also, I mean, it is, I don't mean to be forward. I don't particularly, if you want to be wearing gross clothing, okay. Within the Lord's house, would you terribly mind wearing fresh linens before we go try to eat?
fair.
Many of us have not encountered what you appear to have gone through. We're going to be in the High Patron and Matron's presence. You're about to ask a favor of them.
That's not to offend.
Again, I do not intend to be so cruel. I for one am in charge of the laundry. I will not be upset if I do not have to wash your clothes.
Fair.
She's
I
not
Speaking
wrong.
really
from
need to change, you
experience,
guys.
you will get much further with them asking a favor if you make an effort to appear presentable.
Just because we're changing into the linens doesn't mean we have to give them our clothes.
Frankly, I mean, our clothes could use a washing.
Oh, I
but,
don't
There's a
disagree.
huge part of me that's like, well,
It's her clothes, not her.
Yeah. Well, give us a minute then, and then.
This is a sign that I have done a good job of making you very paranoid.
Yes, yes,
are
you
extremely
have.
paranoid.
You had us watched from a painting in our room while we were hearing screams from outside.
Oh, I felt weird before that.
Oh yeah.
I did too. Yes, but that was
Oh.
the exacerbating factors.
is there any chance that any of us have a clean set of our own clothes in the bottom of our bags?
Our bags are with us.
I, for
Your
one,
bags haven't
brought
been
my
brought up.
personal stuff with me. I guess I would normally have. I don't know. I guess I was assuming that all
Like
of the stuff that was left
regular
on the
pack.
horses would have been like the camping gear and the food and that kind of stuff. In my mind, my personal stuff came with me, but maybe not.
I'm going to say you probably don't have. It's been a month.
So we probably don't have any clean
Shouldn't have
clothes.
anything clean,
Like-
period. Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff that is significantly less grotesque
But it's
Yeah.
also been
than the
sitting in
stuff that
bags.
just went through a werewolf
with
and
gross
subsequent. Well, a zombie and then werewolf and then Drider battle.
yeah.
Not all of your clothing is that gross.
Our clothing in
My
general has a
clothing's
collective
gnarly,
funk.
bro. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I was gonna say, like, we don't have to necessarily give them our clothes. We could shove our clothes back in our. If we have even just one pack, we can stuff all our stuff into one pack.
We could change
folks-
into the linens without giving them their.
Yeah,
our
exactly.
You folks have really been through it.
Yes, apologies. We're not generally this timid.
How about
Paranoid?
this? I
Paranoid.
will ensure that no one will come into your room in your absence. We will not gather your clothes. We do not want your clothes.
we don't even want to wash the bloody
I
things.
don't want to.
Literally.
They're yours. Just for the sake of breakfast, if you wouldn't mind changing to something less offensive. Many of these girls have lived in this convent their entire life. Your visage. I believe Ulnak was the name.
Yes.
Quite unique.
Well,
Oh, give us a
yeah.
minute. Or
If
do you
would
want us to
please
change right here?
Close the door. There are girls on their way to food. I do not want them to accidentally break their vows.
I was assuming we would go change in our own rooms, but okay.
I was assuming you would close your doors as well, but this one appears propped open for reasons and a vaguely shirt curtain.
shirt, shirt. Okay.
Elliot will go ahead and grab some clothes, some linen off. He'll change into the linen and use whatever wash basin has been provided.
I will wait for you out here. Just
Do-
let me know when you are ready and we will go.
Do a
Okay.
quick PTA wash and call it good.
So we allowed.
Yeah, I mean,
Ain't
she's
gonna
waiting
hurt
for us to
anything,
go to
man.
breakfast. She's gonna open it for us again.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, quick wash up, change into
I'm still going to inspect clothes.
assume is a
for
linen robe.
anything.
They're close.
Okay.
You're safe. This is not the trap.
Did they like, are we talking like that she just gave us the robes, or is she expecting to put on the wimple and shit?
You've got think they're
Zachary
linen
Binks for
clothes, but they're just plain white hempen linen clothing.
Okay.
Very, very simple. You're all wearing basically the same thing. You've got a mid-length sleeve, longish, kind of a
Medieval peasant.
Yeah.
esque
Yeah.
clothes.
Okay, that's fine. I just was trying to get an idea.
surprisingly comfortable slippers, style shoes, slip-on style shoes.
I feel like I'm going to breakfast in a nightgown.
Kind of. This feels like a pajama set.
It's
Hey,
not,
but hey, look at this, Emery. They fit.
it's not super important, but I'm wondering what the color is. I forgot if you said it.
White.
Yeah,
White,
it's
okay.
natural. It's like a beigeish, whitish.
Got it.
Probably not dyed at all.
Understood.
It fits because they're basically potato sacks. They fit everyone.
No, they're not. I have to roll up the sleeves. This is stupid.
It's nobody's fault that you're tiny.
But once you're done changing,
I feel like you just got glared at.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's clear.
Yeah, we'll go back to the door and Emery will try to open it.
it does open this time.
Okay. Cool.
And Sister Aether is waiting for you. And oh, good. I hope no insult was given. I did not intend one. You've clearly had a hard travel. But let's go get you some food.
Sure.
And she leads you down the hallway, back down the path. You guys came up, down the stairs to the first floor. However, this time instead of going back towards the main entrance, you go 90 degrees off of that, kind of going closer to the mountain in essence.
Sister Aether, would you mind if we detoured to see the horses really quick? We've gotten very attached to them in our travels, and I just want to make sure they're doing all right in the stables.
That is a bit of they're outside the walls.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, we keep our stable on the outside. The inside is for the cathedral. We don't have night watch on our animals. We don't want them leaving their droppings in front of the cathedral entrance. We work very hard to keep our courtyard and cathedral clean.
Yes, understandable. I just figured I didn't see any entrance for animals along the side. So
No, yeah, it is on the exterior. It'll have to be brief. I was planning on a tour after breakfast though. But I
That'll
can
probably be
show
fine.
you where they're at.
after breakfast is probably fine.
She continues leading, and it does almost exactly halfway down this. Those of you who looked out the window last night, almost exactly halfway down the hallway. Logically, you come into a fairly grand door, opens up into a fairly large, obviously dining area, large ballroom-sized room with a very large round table. At which you see quite a few nuns, probably 30 nuns or so, seated at this table. There are 5 chairs at one end left for you folk. There is an empty chair about halfway, you assume, for Sister Aether. And at the opposing side of the circle is seated a man and a woman. These two are distinct in that they are still dressed like the woman's dressed just like the nuns, except her garb is red. Very dark crimson-y red. And the man's robes are the same color. And they are seated in a slightly grander chair. I wouldn't call it a throne, but it's a nicer, hardier chair. And they are directly across from the chairs you would be seated at. Sister Aether shows you to your seats. And once you are seated, she just kind of says, "Please enjoy." And she goes around to the chair, roughly 90 degrees off the circle. It's not perfect. Her seat is just over there. And shortly thereafter, you see a group of monks dressed all in black come in carrying food trays. They very politely, briskly set food down in front of each nun and yourselves, and then they excuse themselves back out of the room. You do see that no one has reached for their forks or plates or anything yet. And the high patron, the male, stands at the far end, and he looks about the circle and said, praise to our Lord's generosity that we are able to wake safe and in full possession of our faculties. We thank our Lord's kindness for allowing us to act in service to our church for another day and for the opportunity to purify ourselves of the transgressions we are all guilty of. May this food nourish our bodies, giving us the strength needed to purify our souls. And he will sit, and everybody begins eating.
Question. Did the monks serve individual plates to individual people, or was they just put food on the table and then everybody dishes themselves?
It was individual plates to individual people, mostly because, and I didn't do a great job describing the table, it's wide enough for you to dine at, but there's no center to it.
Okay.
It's hollowed out in the center. There wouldn't be anywhere for platters of food to rest.
Also,
so you were each given your own plate of food.
Okay. Also, side note, is Jacob come down with us? Did they put
6
him in a rope
chairs.
too?
Yes.
Like, is
there are
he
6
trailing
chairs.
around in an oversized robe?
And yeah, he's wearing similar garb.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't see him, so I forget he exists.
That's
I can see you guys.
Yeah.
I need to get a creepy Jacob mannequin. Sit
That'll
down and James.
help the ambiance.
After our conversation about
bring you a
creepy
cursed
dolls,
doll.
how about
There we go.
not?
Jacob the cursed doll.
No.
He can sit
No.
next to James.
No.
James.
I have some porcelain dolls from when I was a kid.
Oh, fucking no.
This ambiance
They're
is creepy
probably
as
not
fuck.
haunted.
Can we?
Probably.
Can we?
Probably.
No.
All right.
I'm gonna go, please.
Elliot is going to cast Detect Poison and Disease, which will tell him if there's any poison or disease within 30 feet of me for 10 minutes.
Is
The
that
food's fine.
Okay.
There's nothing with the food. It seems like maybe some of the nuns are sick. But you know, and you hear the accompanying normal sniffles.
Okay.
There's nothing to be alarmed of, though.
So
The food is fine.
I feel like I see Elliot like doing something over his food and message him. Don't scream. What are you doing?
checking these for. Oh yeah, because it's message. So in my head, I say, I'm checking it for poison. It's not poisoned. A couple of the nuns are sick, but I don't think. Yeah, that one.
Mel like scoots herself a little further away from the sick nun.
But I think the food's fine to eat, and I'll take it and I'll begin eating. Maybe I'm specifically looking at like the rest of my compatriots, like in the eye, to kind
Waiting
of
for it. Oh, okay.
And at that point,
Emery has
Jacob's
already started.
already halfway through his bowl.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, well, I hope that was fine.
And the food's good. It's simple, it's eggs. There's some like a ham steak, and some sort of sausage, and potatoes. It's reasonably well seasoned, but it's not, exciting.
Right.
Salt, pepper, that kind of stuff. There's a healthy kind of sautéed vegetables.
Being the resident cook, do I recognize the type of meat that we are currently eating?
You're confident it's a ham steak,
Okay.
and maybe a pork sausage, maybe a beef sausage. That's probably the most heavily flavored thing here. A lot of sage, a lot of louder herbs in it.
Gotcha.
But
Normal for sausage.
yeah,
But
it's
it-
breakfast sausage.
Okay.
The eggs appear to be chicken. The potatoes appear to be ground.
Oh, not dragon eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That would have been
I just
cool.
had a
Y'all
terrible.
have one big ass egg.
We have egg.
I just had a thought cross my mind, so I wanted
They
to double
raise
check
ostriches here.
what kind of meat.
I, as a player, saw that thought cross your mind, and I'm like, no, just no.
The potatoes are kind of the sliced kind of country potatoes. They're not hash browns or diced or anything. They're just reasonably well cooked. It's a very simple salt and pepper, excluding the sausage. It's good. It's nourishing. It's filling. There's enough food that you are comfortably full. And as you're eating, you see the nuns. They're not so stiff that they're robotic or anything. You see them kind of to each other. A lot of looks in your direction. Even with you guys wearing the clothes that were given, just stand out.
Yeah,
Everyone
we're
else
not
is in
the
all
same
black.
30 people they know either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the occasional giggling and a sharp elbow, a lot of stern looks from the high matron, very obviously trying to make sure her girls behave.
Emery is
Are they making
fighting the
eyes at
urge
the
to
guys?
glare poisonously at everyone.
I feel like
She is
Jacob,
so uncomfortable.
with his natural charisma, is getting a lot of the nuns to be like, "Hi,"
Yes.
make little kid noises.
Yes, absolutely. The nun next to him is kind of sneaking a little bit onto his plate for him.
How do you do that?
They seem really nice. I don't know.
Innocence of youth.
I grew up in churches. This isn't too. They're wearing kind of interesting clothes.
I feel like I've
This
used
is the
breakfast.
closest to normal I've been since all of this happened.
I'm sorry, Jacob.
It's okay. I feel good. I slept last night. Comfy bed, weird clothes. Kind of itchy.
After this many days without a shower, I think everything's gonna be a little itchy.
Fair.
When even the 8-year-old starting to smell funny, you know you need a bath.
So you guys, you have a good meal. Shortly after everybody's obviously done eating, the red monk rings a little bell, and then presumably the same monks come back out, grab your plates, take them away, and the high patron stands back up again and says, "Sisters, it is about time for the morning service. I will join you shortly in the cathedral after I speak with our new guests. But I will be in shortly to go through today's proceedings." And with that, the nuns and the red nun stand and make their way out of the room. Once they're gone, the red monk works his way around the table towards you. So, Sister Aether tells me that you have a rather unique situation that you're seeking help with.
Yes.
Yes, our rather large compatriot here has inflicted unfortunate.
So I hear lycanthropy is what has made its way to me.
I know it sounds crazy, but it's true.
After Sister Aether found me last night and told me of this, I admit I had to go into our libraries and see if there were any writings on this. I'm not particularly well versed in the wolfish nature. We tend to deal more with spiritual cleansings here. But it would appear that, strangely, some of our older books, there is some talk of lycanthropy being dealt with by our ancestors. Our predecessors, I think, is a better word.
Well, that's promising to hear.
Yes, and thankfully, actually, it would appear as though the usual ordeal we go through to purify our constituents would help resolve this issue as well. It would appear from our readings that The removal of curses is a removal of curses. It's fairly across the board.
And what is that methodology?
Like, take a silver bullet and call me in the morning?
Oh, we greatly prefer it if the people we administer aid to are alive the next day.
I too would prefer that.
Well,
That
I
would
was
be
thinking
great.
like a silver bullet magic pill kind of thing, but
Oh no, we have some herbal medicines to help with fevers, things of that nature. But the removal of curses is not. A curse and an illness are two very different animals. Sorry, no pun intended. We don't get much humor around these parts.
we can tell.
But no, we have a purification that we can put you through that would alleviate the burden that you are carrying.
And what is that purification?
It's a fairly standard religious ritual that we undertake here.
I'm asking about the specifics.
Pretend we are not familiar with a standard religious rituals.
We we take the afflicted, and the High Matron and I perform a fairly lengthy blessing ritual over the individual. It does not feel particularly good at the time. The purification of the soul is it's unfortunately an unpleasant process. But
sounds like an exorcism.
we have performed exorcisms. This is a different. It's nowhere near as lengthy. I guess I should put some parameters on length here. I'm talking. It takes a little longer than a minute, but
That's in depth thought.
it's not a multi-week ordeal like an exorcism can stretch out to be. If we were to hypothetically start, later this morning, I do have a service I must give. I have two services, one for the nuns, one for the monks. If I were to start after our morning service, I would have it almost certainly finished before dinner. I am not going to lie, it is not pleasant.
What do you think, Olnak?
But we have never had anybody sustain any permanent negative. Nobody's ever passed from this. That seems to be.
I was already grabbing the D20,
Go for it.
That one's not bad. 16.
14.
Just whether he's telling the truth.
He is absolutely underplaying how unpleasant this will be.
Okay.
But he's fairly confident no one has died.
Oh, Olnak, what do you think?
We got to get rid of the curse, or I could hurt you guys. That will haunt me forever. So,
Except for the process.
I've been through pain before.
So
We would feel more comfortable if we could spectate the process.
that is not something I can allow. You would be of no help. If anything, you would be a distraction. This is a process that does take great concentration.
I'm trying to put words together in my head. Sorry. I'm just staring at you.
I held the poker face as long as possible. Not very long.
No, same.
Can I just say the way that you've been, your demeanor when you're playing this character with the freaking smile, you
I
are
don't
terrifying
like
as
it.
hell.
That is good.
Well, I am afraid that I'm firm that we need to be at least as close as possible.
We can have, we're not going to ban you from the grounds. You're, of course, welcome to stay here.
God, the way you
We
said
will
that's
not
creepy as
leave
hell.
our friend to go through an unpleasant ritual alone.
I cannot have you in the same room as him. We do perform the ritual in the cathedral. That is our holiest building. That's what it's for. That's where we receive the Lord's not communion, Lord's words. He says it better.
Blessing.
He says what he meant.
okay,
The
what
Lord's
about-
message.
What
We
about
receive the
a
Lord's message there.
compromise? Could
but-
we see the room in which you intend on doing this procedure prior to the procedure?
Oh, absolutely. Procedure is a strong word. There's no operation. There's no. This is.
I'm not gonna chop that off.
Think of it like scoping
would-
out your
again, we
tattoo
would-
parlor
we would-
before you get it done.
Be most upset if this ended with a warrior such as yourself dying. That is counter to why would we try to purify your soul just to have you pass?
What kind of psychological damage does this do?
Because unfortunately, that's what our friend is.
I mean, the same psychological damage that any pain causes. The purification of your soul does not come without any cost. It does. It is not a pleasant process, but you will come out the other end. Preferably
Mel's
better,
soul is getting
ideally.
kind of twitchy.
Without the risk of slaughtering my congregation tomorrow night.
That's all I'm asking for. That's what I want. I don't want to hurt anybody.
I don't know why, but the black spot on Mel's soul is getting really twitchy every time he talks about purifying her soul. It's like, what?
Well,
No.
I think
Mine.
it would be good to see the room, and if we can wait in a space nearby.
We can find some. We don't exactly have a waiting room. This is.
Well, I
This is
know.
not a
I
doctor's
understand
procedure,
that.
but
We
we're not
refuse
going to.
to allow our friend to go through something like this alone.
Yes, we will get you reasonably nearby. You will not. If you are insistent upon this, you will not enjoy what you hear.
I would not enjoy waiting somewhere else unable to hear either.
And if you are going to be nearby, you cannot enter the room while we are doing the process. That would put your friend at risk. This is a very precise ritual that must be performed. If it is interrupted, the outcome could be quite negative to your friend's health. We are very good at what we do. We do it no different than, if you would like to use the word procedure, this would be no different than bursting into an operation room while a surgeon is at work. The outcome would not be great.
Understood.
But we are not going to kidnap your friend under cover of dark and subject him to tortures.
Not in broad daylight.
We're not. I am not confident that any of the nuns in here could take your friend if they so chose.
You're not wrong.
He's a big guy, and we are here
Yeah.
for the purification of our followers. We are not here
Twitch.
for the slaughter of anyone,
I understand that.
innocent or not.
We look out for each other. That's all.
He's a very good friend of ours.
So, Sister Aether mentioned that you would like to go see your horses. Of course, we will make that happen. She'll give you a tour of our humble facilities. As I mentioned, I must go perform the morning services, one for the nuns, one for the monks.
Are those services performed in the cathedral as well?
Yes, that is our church facility.
Are visitors allowed to attend?
You must go through the purification before you can sit in on the morning services. Much like our close friends in Catholicism have things before you can partake of the communion, we have a process before you can sit amongst the nuns and monks. They have been purified, and we like to try to distance them from the sins of the outside world as much as possible. They have been forgiven their transgressions. We would hate for them to backtrack.
Sure.
I assure you, it is but a normal ceremony.
Well,
Sure.
Let's go check out the horses, make sure they're behaving themselves.
Yes, Sister Aether, if you would give our friends, show them our gardens as well. I think they would enjoy seeing our expansive gardens. You are forgiven for the services this morning. We will just have an extra for you tomorrow. And I think our new guests would quite enjoy seeing our facilities. While I admit it's not great, I am quite prideful of our humble abode, as it were. I will have an extra session myself this evening. You are not incorrect. It's hard to not take pride in this facility. We have worked quite hard to get it to where it is.
How long has it been here?
Say it.
How long has it been here in the mountains of Colorado?
In the mountains of Colorado, it has been here for some time.
I bet it was pretty
I was
tricky
looking for a number.
I bet it was pretty
3.
tricky getting all that stone.
It's been
up
here for
that
3
trail.
sometimes.
3 what?
I imagine that was quite a process.
So,
Well, we should let you get to your service.
yes.
Yes,
We'll address
enjoy
any of
the
our
tour.
questions.
Sister Aether has been well versed. We are expecting to have guests here in the near future, and she has asked to not be in the laundry anymore. She is soon to be our tour guide, so you are kind of her guinea pigs for this.
You keep saying that.
Yes. Yes.
Because lab rat sounds bad.
Guinea pig has the same connotation.
I'll
I
let
feel
you know
like
what. Given
we've
the choice
held him
between
back
the
long
two,
enough.
please stick with guinea pig.
You're
though.
our dry fire? Is that perhaps a better phrasing? You're our first run, our test lab?
Alpha
or-
test, maybe?
Sure. Yes, this has not yet entered beta stages. This is our alpha stages. So it may be a little rough, as most alpha stages are. And as cliche and modern as it sounds, if you have any feedback, Sister
You have a
Aether,
survey.
Sister Aether will gladly
You're gonna
receive
email
it.
me about it.
She is very determined to do the Lord's work proudly and thoroughly. And this appears to be perhaps her calling, but we would hate to waste her time if it is not.
Sure.
And with that, he bows and leaves before you have a chance to ask anything else. Sister Aether strides up and please follow me. And so she takes you out the opposing door, not the one you came in from, but the opposing door. And she does kind of turn to you guys a little. She's got a little color in her cheek. She appears not the most comfortable in here. The dining halls separate the men's and women's quarters. So we are now in the monks' living quarters. So we will not dally here very long. This is only the second time I've been on this side of the building.
And how long have you lived here?
My whole life.
Really?
Yes.
You were born here.
I know not my mother. I was left to the church.
I see.
But yes, my whole life I have been in service. Well, that's not true. I was a child for a while. With you having a young one of your own, you understand perhaps that service is a weird word to use for kids. We're not exactly productive ones, but I have spent my life learning the Lord's message and doing my best to be a dutiful practitioner. But for the sake of this tour here, the men's and women's quarters are mirrors of each other. The men do not have nicer or lesser quarters than we do. They have an identical dining hall on the opposite end of the facility. They are fed the same food, to my understanding, though. Due to their size, they are fed slightly larger portions. They also do the more strenuous physical labor, felling trees for our firewood, hunting the animals for our consumption. So they get a slightly larger portion, of course. But this is the shortest path to get you out to the stables for your horses. And obviously she's talking as this is happening. When she says that, you get to a small side door that takes you outside, of which there is a very nice cobblestone path that kind of leads up in an arc up into the mountain a little more, where you can see, go with this word again, cloister of small buildings. Up the hill a little ways, maybe as the crow flies, maybe 50 yards. But it's also probably a good 30, 40 feet higher. So you take the path up and around, and you do find the first is the stables, and you do see your horses. They have been unpacked. I'm sure there's a better horse word for that, but I don't know it. Unpacked of their gear, unloaded, if you were. Their trunks are empty. And they appear reasonably happy. They have a good pile of hay in front of them, fresh, clean trough of water. They are in individual stalls, but they appear to have even been brushed recently. And you see that further back there is a separate stable that's currently empty, a little nicer. This one it's not poorly maintained, but it's cobbled stone, it's wood timber. The one further up appears just more polished, nicer quality overall. The stalls appear a little bigger, a little more spacious. So of course she says,
that's
this
that's
is
the one for the Lord's horses.
Yes, that is the Lord's stable up there.
Does he visit often?
I have not had an opportunity to commune with the Lord.
So, while she's taking us out to the horses, Mel's gonna have a little chat in her head, or try to.
The nun's head?
No. In her own head.
Oh, you're thinking to yourself.
I'm thinking to myself.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can get even just, hopefully not a conversation from my patron because he's scary, but just like a little like nudge in a direction here or there. Just to be kind of like, is this gonna be okay? Like, you know, especially when he kept talking about purifying souls, I'm gonna be like, is my entering that church gonna be a problem?
I think last time you tried communing with your patron, I had you roll a d20.
Sure, maybe. That sounds
It's been a
familiar.
bit, but I think I just had you roll a straight d20.
11.
You get a slight, very, very faint hint of perhaps reassurance.
Okay.
The feeling that passes is not negative. It is
Okay.
not screaming, get the hell out.
Okay. Well, that's promising, right?
For an 11, that's what you'll get.
Well, thank you.
Shortly after the stables, you see a pretty good-sized livestock pen, and you see a couple of fat pigs just rolling around in the mud, happier than hogs. You see a good-sized coop of chickens with a couple of roosters. You see there's a relatively decent-sized flat-ish spot where they have some cattle. With a decent-sized cattle barn. You can tell Elliot in particular sees all the trappings of a milking station in there. Fairly old school, you know. There's a comfortable stool in each pen, and decent-sized buckets kind of set up, and something to kind of restrain if needed. Angry cow. And you.
I think a stanchion is the word.
Okay, that sounds like a good word.
Does it look like there was any like modern tech that was in place, but
No.
then kind of got removed at some point later down the line? Stop working. Not at all?
Nothing appears retrofitted. Quite literally in this case, nothing is retrofitted.
So it all looks like purposeful. Like this is what it was originally for from the beginning of it.
Yes, and as you're looking, you don't even see any of the power lines. coming to this area.
We haven't seen the outlets in our room.
Nope.
Sister, the rest of our stuff never made it up to our rooms. Do you know if it's still down here at the stables or where it ended up?
I believe while we were eating, it was being taken up to
Was
your
it?
room. We can
Okay.
stop by there. We'll have time if you would like to make sure.
We want to make sure that our packs are in order for when we head out.
No, absolutely. That is understandable. With how nervous you were about your laundry, I will make sure we get you to your items.
Appreciated.
So she takes you around the. So you came in on one side, you dined 90 degrees off of that. The stables are 90 degrees off that. The remaining 90-degree area of this square. She takes you around over there, staying outside, and you see a fairly expansive garden area. A healthy mixture of food crops. There's a good bit of corn being grown. Well, you assume a cornfield. It's pretty early. You do definitely see some of the spring veg, lettuces and stuff.
They've
There
probably
it
got asparagus coming up right about now.
See some asparagus, absolutely. I'm not going to pretend to out-farmer the farmer here. You see the things that should be growing now in the slightly higher country. You see those growing. And there's nobody actively working the ground right now. You assume they're probably
At
either in
service.
or preparing for service. But you do see old school plow. There's no animal currently hitched to it, but it is the old animal drawn plow with a hardy old steel blade on it. You see a lot of that. No stone tools; they're all steel tools. It's not that outdated, but again, it's all hand tools out here. And with that, Sister Aether's talking about how the monks and the nuns coordinate the labor through here. The monks plow the land and do the heavy lifting. Any boulders that they unearth as they're plowing the land get removed by the monks, and that the nuns primarily take care of the sowing. And she takes you back inside, back in the main entrance, where you can see the paintings, you can see the banners. The part that would probably strike Elliot the strongest is there's no obvious Christian iconography anywhere. You're not seeing crucifixes. You're not seeing Mary or Joseph or any cliche Catholic Christian iconography.
Kind of why I was hoping to go into the cathedral.
Yeah, same.
We'll have to just ask our side.
The sister, the high patrons told us that we would be allowed to inspect the room that the purification curse removal ceremony.
Absolutely. It is in the cathedral, and we want to allow the services to finish before we go in.
Okay.
But we will grant you access. You're the first outsiders to get access to our cathedral. I'm hoping that the patron keeps his services short. I'm eager to show you our crown jewel, if you will. But I do know that the high patron himself very much wants to show you. That's kind of, for want of a better word, that is his domain. He leads the services. The high matron is in charge of making sure that we all perform our services throughout the Lord's house up to par. He handles the more religious practices, the prayer sessions, the sermons. That is his domain. Of course, obviously, the high matron fills in if he should fall ill or things of that nature, but that is primarily his task. Just as if the high patron asks us to do a chore, we do the chore. even though that is the matron's purview.
Sure.
But that does conclude our exterior tour. We can go up to your room real quick, make sure that your belongings are to your liking. And there's not much else to see. We do have some water. We have a fairly intricate water system. That's the monk's turf. I don't understand exactly how it works. But the third floor isn't really a living quarters. It's where we have some water tanks to help with pressure, is my understanding. You're of course welcome to see it, but it's more of a maintenance area, for want of a better word. The living quarters that you are staying in very closely reflect our own, with the small exception of ours only have one room, whereas yours have 4. Yours are guest quarters. So I'm afraid there's not much left to show. These are fairly humble quarters. Our library is in the cathedral itself, in the back, so I can't show you that yet until the services are complete. But we have a little bit of time. You can go. I can get you back up to your room.
I think we would appreciate that. Have a moment to
Regroup.
Yes.
Absolutely. So she leads you up to the room, and your stuff's there.
Cool.
It's very, very tidily organized, but it doesn't look as though any of if you look, your packs haven't been gone through.
Yeah.
There's no. You guys didn't specifically set anything, but you know your backpack. You know how you packed it. It doesn't look like anything's been gone through. Particularly because of your hesitancy, your filthy clothes are still there.
I was hoping that they did the rest of our laundry without asking.
Sister Aether hasn't left. He is still there. But is everything more or less to your comfort?
Yeah, looks fine.
And you say when we open the
Yeah.
pack, everything's...
Do you mind if we have a minute?
Absolutely. I will just be right outside. I can't go anywhere until I can take you to the cathedral, so I'll just be right outside the door if you should need me.
Well, thank you.
Try to be quick.
Open, close.
I think closed.
Okay.
Yes.
She closes.
And I
Stands.
did you guys tell us about the painting? I
Yes.
don't. Okay.
In the morning, we told you everything. Everybody else
I am
discovered.
sufficiently freaked out for sure.
But
I think I look at the painting and make sure there's no one there.
There's no one at the painting.
Okay.
do you think it's too late to get him to do our laundry? I mean, can it really hurt?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably too late. We kind of made a thing.
We kind of made a big deal out of it. We'll find somewhere to wash it later. I think we should have a conversation about what we're doing here and whether or not this is the right course of action. And yeah, just talk and like.
Hey, Jacob, why don't you go over to your room and count your books
Captain Underpants comment.
and make sure that they're all there and they didn't get lost somewhere.
Run inventory on your pack.
Yes, run a full inventory on your pack. Repack.
Okay. Guess I can do that.
You know, like you've stayed in a hotel, you don't want to leave stuff, right?
I guess. I just usually go and leave and Mom does the things.
Well, you know.
But you're getting older. And
You gotta look out
having
for your
more
own stuff.
responsibility.
He goes and sufficiently is scrolled away for this conversation.
Okay, I do not for 1 second want to leave Olnock in there by his goddamn self.
Absolutely not. I don't trust that at all.
I've been thinking about ways that we can counteract that.
So I had a little beg my patron for the modicum of attention, which is not the word that Mel would have used. I didn't get much, but I got a reassuring vibe, so it probably won't kill us.
Okay, so the dark entity. We're here.
The dark entities. Oh, at least okay
You're right,
with
James. That is super
you will-
reassuring.
Okay, I mean they kept talking about purifying your soul. It made me a little twitchy.
That's
if the
fair.
dark entities feels good about it, then I feel better.
I also think that maybe it has your welfare and Jacob's in mind, and not necessarily the rest of us.
But if something happened to any of the rest of you, Jacob and I would be really, really upset. And that's not good for our well-being, right?
Also, the sisterly, when I did the mage hand back noggin, she knew that I did it. It was invisible, and she knew that I did it.
Yeah.
And she didn't react to it, which means they absolutely know about it. Which means that if we try any kind of magic-y things to circumvent or attempt to be there with him, there's a good chance they're gonna know.
Yeah,
There
and
might be
frankly,
some-
the whole, like, matron, patron, and bright red rose is giving me some creepy KKK vibes, but that's not the point.
I didn't go that
also-
far.
I also am
It's not
worried.
where I was going at all.
I'm worried a little bit that this purification ritual is going to be more than just
Alright.
removing a curse.
I'm afraid they're like trying to like
Yes.
magically brainwash
Brainwash.
him into
Yeah, because didn't you say that you were screaming?
yes.
And they said that you can't attend service without going through purification.
That's concerning. The other one is you had seen the monks physically escorting a nun at night, and if they're supposed to be as chaste as they claim to be, that they can't even be together in the same building.
They
So
were
that
helping
doesn't
her.
make a lot of sense.
Maybe she was one of the sick ones.
Yeah, well, then the other sisters would have been helping her. There's no way in the world that the monks would have been helping her.
Maybe they were just burly sisters? I don't know.
Sister Gretel.
Olga.
Sister Olga persisting. I don't know.
So at the moment, all I've got is maybe when we view the room, we can come up with some way to get in if we need to. I don't like being split up that way.
Also,
and
they
all-
don't trust us either if they're watching us do that thing.
Well, to be fair, we haven't exactly proven ourselves trustworthy. We're at least
fair,
as skeptical
but that
of
was
them as
already
they are
installed.
us.
Yeah, and I'm not okay with them locking us in. That pisses me off.
Yeah, I was looking at the mechanism. There's might be a possibility that if we do wind up spending another night, if we get out and about during the night, we can use my main ship to fiddle with watching the game get open.
I mean, if push comes to shove, we could probably make a
Well,
hole
we're
to
supposed to
get
be-
out.
we're
That's
supposed to-
slightly louder.
We're
It is.
supposed to be doing this here in a couple hours, my understanding, right?
So
Yeah.
we're not planning on staying another night.
Oh, hell no, I don't want to stay another night.
I absolutely
okay, that's
don't.
good.
But Ike says I can't get grips to. I mean, it does make sense. Well, the whole removing a curse should not be nearly as traumatic as they seem to think it's going to be. That
It
doesn't sound
sounds
right.
like they're just doing the purification that they do to remove like their sins and transgressions. Like they said like it's not
What are they going to do?
dissimilar to
Beat him with a whip? I
well,
don't
you
know.
know, there's some
Maybe.
religions, some sects of Christianity, even that they do that kind of shit.
To themselves, not to other people.
Or each other. Like, that's not a...
But
The whole thing
I
is-
yeah, I just don't like for things that we can do. The only thing I've got when you're talking about magically, I can hunter's mark him before he goes in, and if something happens, I can track him.
Okay.
And
But-
you can message with Ulnok and make sure he's still in his brain while they're doing it.
Yeah?
guess.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's an option.
this way we'll know whether or not his brain is still in there.
Yeah?
And you're sure you're cool with going through a process like this? Like, we'll find another way if we have to.
As far as we know, there is no other way. The Fae sent us here specifically so I could be helped by these people.
Do we really trust her though?
The Fae
I know
didn't
there's
know.
a reason to
I
not
mean,
trust
Elliot-
the Fae. I do
Elliot
get that. She did
proposed
send
to
us
her.
into the
There's some
spider den
Well,
or
that's-
whatever.
That's what's got me confused. I don't trust them at all, but I don't know why she would have sent us up here for that.
And I don't think, like, she did say too, like, you can fight it and it'll just be the full moon that you're not in control of yourself, and we can find a way to make sure you're not going to put people in danger.
Exactly haul around it. Deal.
We don't really
We
know
can figure it
exactly
out.
what it is that holds the werewolf back.
We can
or
bury
can
him
trap
up
the
to his
werewolf
neck?
during the time so I
There's-
don't hurt
we
any
could-
of you, and especially the kid. I will never forgive myself if I hurt that kid.
Well, we could definitely bury him up to his neck.
That would definitely work.
We
It
could
would
do
slow
that.
him down. God, that'd be a lot of work.
It would
It
be.
would be a lot of work. We'd have to dig the
I'm just
hole.
saying.
We'd have to put him in it. We'd have to
We do have
bury him
silver
in.
ore. We know silver is
On the bright
something.
side, he can
This
help us
isn't-
dig the hole.
This isn't the only option.
It not technically no.
But really, Olnok, this is really kind of your decision if you want to try this or not.
They might try
ultimately
to
up to you.
religiously brainwash you while they're purifying your soul.
We'll have to. We should
I've
come
been
up with a
brainwashed
code.
before I was in the Navy, so
That's a contract
It didn't hurt
brainwash.
that
That's not.
So I'm susceptible.
It's not the first time. I can fall back on that.
But,
I
but we
won't
can come up
argue with you if this is your decision. I just want you to know that we are willing to make other options work.
But we can come up with a code word or something like that. So that if you do
pineapples.
Pineapples. Okay.
Okay,
Again,
pineapples.
different code. We've been over this.
Wait, what's the matter with pineapples?
We'll explain it
means
to you
something
later,
else.
Elliot.
Farfig Newton.
Sure.
Farfig Newton.
I was gonna go with decapitation. I like that one.
Dusseldorf.
Dusseldorf.
Now, we can't be throwing two. We got to pick one.
One code word.
One code word.
I don't want to do decapitation because what if they're like,
Yeah, that's weird.
that could be like a red flag to them.
Yeah, he just
or
yells
maybe
that
they think I'm not
sometimes.
like
And he does
succumbing
just
to
kind of yell.
I'm succumbing to the curse, and then they fucking cut my head off.
You
I
don't
don't want to be
actually
dead.
have to yell at Olnok. As long as I can get within
That's true, I
30
can.
feet of you,
That's
I can
right.
hear
That's
you
right. That's
if
right.
you
That's true.
if we go
Message.
psychically.
Yeah.
So we don't like pineapples. We can't do pineapples.
We
I
can
don't
do
know what y'all's problem
pineapples.
with pineapples are, but whatever.
Pine cones.
Pine cones. There you go.
Okay,
Okay.
pine cone.
All right.
About that time, you do hear the chiming of bells, like cathedral bells. From the cathedral right outside your window, so it's fucking loud.
Fucking.
It was just the choice of chiming versus ringing of the bells. It's mildly confused.
Big church bells make loud sound.
Oh, yes. they do. Well, I says, oh, no.
All right.
What you decide we'll go with.
Yep.
Those are our
We will support you no matter what.
I got to be honest, guys. As far as I know, there is no other way that we are aware that will rid the curse. It is a risk I am willing to take.
If they end up
So-
brainwashing you, we'll still break you out of here.
Yep.
We may have to kill you to do it. Do it.
That's fine.
Japes.
We're
What?
not gonna kill him.
Reassuring, Betty.
We will knock him out if we have to.
That we will. That we will do.
Okay.
It's gonna be a
That's
hell of a
better.
lot harder.
It's
but
gonna be a
we'll
lot
do
harder
it.
to knock out the werewolf. We do remember the fight with Griff. He was tough as shit.
Yeah.
Um,
But hopefully, if they
And
remove
hopefully I don't
the
bite any of
curse-
you and
If they
spread the
remove
curse.
the
And then we have a new
curse,
problem.
Then we shouldn't have to knock you out.
so, side note, assuming that we convince them to let us be within, like, you know, a side room or in the entry hall or whatever, when they're doing this, what do we do with Jacob? Like, I can't have him down there listening to him scream.
But you want to leave him up here?
Okay, Mel's not familiar with this. Does anybody have a silent spell?
No.
No.
Damn.
I have silent language.
They might have beeswax
Yeah.
around. We could have him plug his ears and read a book.
There you go.
We could have. If I'm gonna assume we're gonna be on the outside of the cathedral.
That's my guess too.
He can be over again. We can have him over
Against
against
the-
the wall
on the
where
other
we can
side of the
visually see
courtyard.
him. That's all I got. But
Yeah.
we can't. I don't at all trust leaving him alone.
No.
Okay.
But I'm with you too. I don't want him over there either.
Hello?
Yes.
There.
The services have ended.
Excellent.
The High
Well,
Patron will be waiting for you.
Excellent. We'll come for our inspection. And I'm gonna grab my stuff and put my regular clothes back on.
The cleanest pair you've got.
Of course. We're in a church.
Gotta wear your nice jeans.
A good flannel.
Yeah,
I am
the,
curious.
The
how much
holy
would that
jeans.
bother you? You know you're going into the cathedral. with you having clearly some degree of Catholic background.
Well, not Catholic, but
Is that going to be a tweak to Elliot at all, going in
no,
sub-clean clothing?
no, it's fine.
Okay, so there's some branches take that quite litigiously.
There probably are some. Elliot is like, no, this is who I am.
Okay.
And,
You're more the you farm before you go to church type, less the
no,
Sunday
if
best.
if Elliot has the opportunity, he's absolutely going to clean up and go. But at the same time, this is who Elliot is, and whatever his external form may appear to be, it's what's inside that's important, not the external is not important.
Awesome.
So if he has the opportunity to do it basically to show respect, but at the same time, it's not like, well, I'm dirty, I can't go in. It's, I'm sorry that I'm dirty. I did not have an opportunity to clean up.
Gotcha.
You might consider putting the linen over top of your other clothes. They might have rules about letting us in. Just throwing it out there.
Question for the DM. They haven't said anything about our weapon, have they?
No,
I haven't.
I have not
You
mentioned
know
word
what?
one about your weapon.
I'll just
Man,
take my
that's
clothes and all my gear with
disconcerting.
me, but I'll keep the linens on that I'm wearing.
Okay.
That does make sense. And then I can just set it down outside.
Yeah, I think
You're taking your
there,
pack, though.
there
Yeah,
we
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
We take our packs with us, and
Jacob
we'll
can
put
watch
them out
the
on a
packs.
far wall, and we'll set Jacob the very important job of keeping track of our packs.
So if they
There
if they cleaning our rooms, our stuff's not in their way to.
If they ask us, we'll
Yeah,
tell them.
it's like, well, we wanted to move it so you guys didn't have to work around. So anyway, I'm good. So I'm carrying all my stuff, wearing my linens.
I've definitely put back on that leather that I have
Under your linens.
under my leather.
Be mildly uncomfortable, but yeah, that's doable.
Well, fine, sir.
Leather on bare skin.
You can
Yeah.
put a shirt
I'll still wear
underneath it.
like outfit and then the linens on top of it, I guess.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, and then we head down towards the cathedral.
Hey there, listener. I'm just going to cut in here for a quick news update. I'm very excited to announce that Theater of the Mind has been invited to the Grand Junction Comic-Con on September 20th and 21st. We will be hosting a panel on tips and tricks to run and play games, where you will be able to find the majority of the cast. We will be mingling around the convention floor, and we will be hosting our panel on Saturday. Please come and join us as we discuss some of the tricks and tools we use to help make our tables as fun to play at as possible. In the meantime, please like and subscribe to us on your preferred podcasting app, and if possible, please leave us a review. We love hearing from our fans and greatly appreciate your continued support. If you like what you hear, follow us on social media. We are in the middle of making a push on our socials, and if you want first access to any upcoming news, that is where best to find us. Anywho, let's get you back to the action. She leads you right back down the same path you've taken a couple times now. Except instead of going out the front door, there's another door directly across the hall from that. That leads directly to the front door of the cathedral. And this is an impressive structure. The doors are probably a solid, the main doors are 20 feet tall, wood slats with iron bracers, arced to a point. Again, the building itself is a 4-story tall cathedral, very cliche Gothic cathedral. There are almost too many ornaments on the exterior of it. It is gorgeous. objectively beautiful. As you approach, a couple of fairly burly monks open the doors. And inside you see, it's not unlike a fairly normal cathedral. There's two aisles of pews with a red carpeted walkway down the center. At the far end, there is a pulpit at which the high patron is standing. As soon as you enter, he spreads his hands, says, "Welcome to our cathedral, friends." And as you kind of take in what's around you, you are fully confident this is not a Christian church. The main image that you see is behind the high patron is a fairly large banner with a large scythe emblazoned on it, and as if forming like a triangle, there's the large scythe in kind of the prominence, and then equal down below is the visual of a flail or a cat of nine tails, and directly across or directly parallel to that is a set of scales, like the old school cliche, our symbol for justice kind of scales.
By scythe, are you talking about Grim Reaper scythe or a gardening scythe?
They're the same thing, buddy.
They are
Well, I meant like
they're
the
same.
stereotypical like straight on scythe or an actual like curved scythe.
That's a sickle.
It's a
Okay.
sick.
Yeah,
little one's a
it's
sickle.
not the communist symbol, if that's what you're asking.
That would
It's
be a
not the
sickle.
little guy. It's
The
a-
symbology that we're seeing, does it remind us of? Basically, does it remind us of a Moritar? When I heard scythe, the first thing I thought
Yeah.
of is this a church of a Moritar?
That's why I was like
Is that a
scythe
thing?
scythe.
I don't know.
That's true. We don't know that.
I feel like that's
Religion, maybe?
yeah.
Or a
Knowledge history because we
History.
saw
History
it
or
because
we
we
saw
saw
it
him
on
on the
TV,
TV.
but
Yeah.
Whatever you're
talking
better
to
at.
the-
I'm gonna
We all do this.
Yeah.
9.
I don't know why I argued. They're both the same.
19.
Hey,
Damn.
nice.
All right.
Allnock was really watching that TV.
7. Good.
15.
Because I apparently was not paying any attention.
I rolled a nat 20.
Sweet.
Well, he is rather invested.
This is pretty important to me.
All right. What'd you get?
6.
All right. And you got a
50.
So the four of you,
I got a 7. I got nothing.
yeah, this is very obviously not Christian iconography.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a church that has a connection to a Moritar. However, as you look around, despite the banner behind the high patron having the sickle be the most prominent, or dang it, the scythe got me on sickle.
Mhm.
The scythe being the most prominent feature of the banner,
Mhm.
the vast majority of the iconography through here is actually relating more to the cat of nine tails, or the flail.
Okay.
Short handle with several braided flogs coming off of it, ending with some sort of bump. It's woven onto a cloth, so you can't tell what the bump is, but it's a flogging tool.
Yeah.
That is what you're seeing the most of here. The stained glass shows a very striking man bearing the cat of nine tails in one hand. And you see a lot of depictions of, the best way to describe it is pain. As you enter, there are monks flanking both sides of the doors. You do see that the door is... It wasn't uncommon in medieval Europe for the cathedral to be the last sanctuary, the last place that you fled to survive a siege. And this is built like those were. There is a very large wooden bar off to the side that could bar these doors closed from the inside.
Are there any windows in?
Stained glass.
Lots of stained glass. No, just looking out windows, all
Are they all
stained
like
glass.
opaque, like colored, like the light comes through, obviously, but
You're not.
can you see through it at all?
Yes, but it's got that wavy distortion
Yeah.
from old glass.
Okay.
So you can see outside, but it distorts the image pretty terribly.
Yeah.
But it does make the interior just stunning. And Sister Aether leads you up to the High Patron, who says, "Great news, friends. It appears as though it is indeed the Lord's will that your companion is to be cured of his affliction. Lord Ashraphael himself has requested that we make sure to purify your companion of his transgressions and ensure his return to proper fighting form."
All right.
This is a gift that is not given to many an outsider. It's rare that anybody makes Lord Ashraphael's radar, let alone receive his direct blessing for purification.
What do you mean specifically fighting for him?
We need to know that he is stable and he is not going to risk attacking any of his compatriots.
Fair. Is he in his fighting form right now?
More or less. I mean, I would not put him in a barracks alongside anyone else right now. He's apt to change. We don't want somebody who could be as much a danger to his friends as he is his enemies.
Will
That
he
is
be
why you
free
came
to-
here.
Well, yes, that's true. Will he be free to leave afterwards? Free to leave the building, the church?
You're not confined to the cathedral now.
The
I do an inside
convent.
check on that. Was that deliberately vague?
Yes, that was deliberately vague.
Question for the DM.
Answer for the player.
Anything besides general reassurance with the 16?
Your patron doesn't seem too terribly concerned.
Well, that makes one of us.
So I'm gonna lean over and as quiet as I can, I'm gonna go, dude, they not gonna want you to leave.
And as he's saying that, I'm going to point at the banner, kind of provide cover so they can't necessarily hear him. Like, there's 3 symbols up there. Are those symbolic of the 3 lords?
Yes. Lord Amoritar, Lord Ashraphael, and Lord Arpetrix.
So you're primarily a follower of Ashraphael, yes?
Ashraphael, yes.
Ashraphael.
Lord Ashraphael. Ash, ASH, RAPHAEL.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, yeah, that did
So
not.
like Ash, Raphael.
Yeah, that I'm like that did not speak any volumes.
And I'm guessing he has a lot to do with pain purification and penitence.
And purification through pain.
Exactly, purification through pain, yes.
Mhm.
We discussed this at breakfast.
Yeah.
We can purify you of your transgressions, and it is a fairly unpleasant process.
What about the other lords? I'm quite curious.
I always thought wind sprints was purification through pain, but that's just me.
Everyone has their own way of performing self-penitence. Well, Lord Amoritar, the Great Conqueror, Lord of Retribution, Lord Ashraphael, purification through pain, and Lord Arpetrix, bringer of balance and restoration of power where it belongs.
Wait, okay, so
Do they all
Mal,
work together?
Well, Lord Amoritar is the High Lord, of course. He is highest amongst them, but Lord Ashraphael and Lord Arpetrix are in his service. They are the new gods, bringers of modern salvation, saving us from the world in which we were leaving ourselves. They have come to bring their gift to your land. They are here to help restore order and balance as it should be. You seem upset, but you should be rejoicing. It is not every world that gets a Moritar's blessing.
We're just new to this whole thing. That's all. It's all very unfamiliar territory.
That is understandable. This is fairly new for us as well. We have not been on a mission in quite some time. It's our first time in a new land, and you are our guinea pigs.
So Val has a thought, and she's gonna message Olmok.
Roll Constitution or Wisdom or something to see if you flinch and react to the scream. She doesn't do this to you very often.
Except for in the mornings to wake us up.
Only
Nice.
that
21.
one time.
Okay, you're good.
Oh no. Oh no.
Totally unfazed.
In logic, follow me here for a second. These gods would want you in your normal full fighting form so that when a Moritar kills us, he has a stronger, better soldier. So assuming he doesn't succeed in killing us anytime real soon, this might actually work. I mean, it's flawed logic.
I'm not there.
We can't
What?
listen.
Yes.
Can I respond in kind?
Yes,
you can think back
you
at
can,
her.
yeah.
Mel, I see what you're saying. I worry that they will use me
Well-
before I have a chance to fight back.
That's a fair concern. I mean, the thought crossed my mind too.
I have a pretty strong will.
Do you think we can probably still back out? Probably. Maybe.
My friends,
Probably.
It's so hard.
the best part of the blessings I can give you is that Lord Ashraphael himself is wanting to meet you.
Oh shit, what if
He
Lord
intends-
Asherville's my guy?
He intends to be here in
That is
but a
just
couple days'
extreme
time.
possibility, actually.
Oh.
A couple days.
Yes,
You mean the full moon?
Well, by
I
then you'll
guess
be
so. That's a
un-
coincidence.
unwolfed.
Is that the DM saying that's a coincidence, or is that the
Yeah,
priest?
don't read into
Okay.
that part. Here in 4 days' time.
Okay,
We were-
post full moon. Okay.
And it is his wish that we have you properly purified before his arrival.
Well,
We weren't planning on staying that long.
we were sort of expecting to go shortly thereafter.
Well, where is it that you must be in such a hurry to go?
We have a lot of things we need to do.
If we're going to go through the purification process with you, we would like to help follow through with the rest of our mission.
Well, we have a very important mission. Several of them, in fact, and it's
What
really
could
just
possibly
that
be more important than the Lord's wishes?
I have it on another Lord's authority that it's very important that we get Jacob back to his family, and so we are on.
Jacob's
a very
family is
important
not alive.
That's
Not his parents.
mission. Just family.
I know.
Well, we didn't. So
We have it
excuse
on
me.
great authority from Lord Ashraphael that unfortunately Jacob's family is no longer with us.
Well, we still need to get him to a safer place than us.
I am assuming you left him outside with the bags.
Oh, I
Yes,
hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor kid's fucking torn.
No, he's outside. He's been assigned luggage supervisor for the afternoon. Well, we did not know that. We were simply told that we were able to find a safe
If I'm
place
not
for him, and we're
mistaken,
working.
your mission is to take him to a church.
Not this one.
How the fuck do you know that?
Language.
With all due respect,
I would prefer no profanity within the Lord's house, my dear.
I would prefer I didn't have cause for it.
I have it on great authority that your mission is to take young Jacob to a church. As far as I can tell, mission accomplished.
It's not the right color.
Right?
You see?
It's not white.
explicitly of a very specific color, size, shape, and everything else. And I'm sorry, this just doesn't match up. And by the way, how do you know that?
I have my sources, my dear. I receive message directly from the lords.
Guys, help me out here. Please.
It is the Lord's will that you be purified of your transgressions.
I hardly think accidentally getting bitten by a werewolf counts as a transgression.
That part, no, but the gleeful murder, perhaps.
We all have our flaws. Some of us choose to live with them.
And it is the Lord's will that you be purified of your transgressions. To be forgiven.
It is my understanding that Immortar and his like would be happy to have me be a gleeful murderer.
British. Immortar needs to know that those within his land can be predicted. A beast like the lycanthrope is a danger to everything.
That I absolutely understand.
As I understand it, you are aware of several fairly gruesome murders that happened in the last town because of that beast.
This is correct.
I would genuinely hate for that to happen on your behalf.
As would I.
I assure you, no true harm will befall you. The process is unpleasant. I will not lie. It is not fun. I have been through it myself about 50 times.
Why so many?
Because I am still living, I retransgress. I must be purified routinely.
And if he goes through with the process, we can take him when we go.
Now, we would prefer you wait for Lord Ashrafaile's arrival. It is on his wishes that you be purified.
We would prefer not to wait. To be frank.
Meeting the Lord is a great blessing. I have only met him once in person.
I've met some. I'm good.
For you to have only been in our church for about 16 hours,
Yeah.
and he already wants to meet you. That is no small.
And I know I am not worthy.
Lord Ashrafile
It's
knows
an
better
honor
than
to
us.
you.
No?
We would rather get back on the road.
How about we discuss after the purification? He is a danger to you as much as he is to us currently.
I
He's
have
a
faith
danger
in our
to
ability to
himself.
handle him. We
That is
handled
bold.
the
If I'm
last
not
one.
mistaken, you handled the last one largely because he was a damage suck.
We'll figure it out.
He got bitten.
How about this? I have faith in our ability to figure it out. We are good at that.
You are the cursed. What say you? Are you going to disappoint me as much as your compatriots?
Oh, it's not you I'm worried about disappointing, friend. Your opinion of me makes no difference. What I worry about is being controlled.
You won't be controlled, you'll be purified.
You keep saying that as if it means something. What does that mean?
You will be purified of your transgressions. You will no longer be cursed, at minimum.
Could that be maximum too?
Depends on how many transgressions weigh upon his soul. I know of your recent exploits. I do not know of your past. I know you are a military man. The military men from my world have many a transgression to be repentant of. I think's the word.
Repentant.
Repentant of. Can you tell I'm not a church guy? Start showing it all in the scene.
Aldnock, if you decide to do this, we will not leave you here.
Nor would we ask you to. In fact, pause for a moment. Let me show you the room he will be in.
Okay.
I did agree to that before. That was a request of yours, a fairly suspicious but understandable request, I suppose. You are to our ways. And you can even wait in here. It is just on the other side of this door that we will be performing the ritual. You can even bring the boy, and he does not need to sit in the courtyard alone.
Could we get some beeswax for his ears?
That'll do.
We were told there would be screaming.
There will be a fair deal of that. That is fair.
And this poor kid's seen enough.
And
If you would
her.
like, he can stay in the courtyard. I was simply offering he doesn't have to be alone.
Well, that's
He's-
why I
he's
asked.
got Charlie.
I
Sure.
forgot about the dog.
Can't say Charlie's there.
Where else would Charlie?
I forgot about him.
All right, well, let's see this room.
So he takes you back behind the pulpit. It's where, in the church I did briefly attend, they had the baptismal font. There's a door basically behind the pulpit. Unlike that church, there is very much not a baptismal font back here. There is a relatively sturdy, but somewhat comfortable looking wooden chair. There are bookcases along the walls. There's a plush carpet. There are more pictures of Lord Ashraphael along the wall. There are no silver trays with cutting cutlery or torture tools or car batteries hooked up to jumper cables or anything like that.
Does the door
Those don't
lock
work
from
anymore.
the inside?
Yeah, that's right. None of that's functioning.
You don't see a locking mechanism.
Okay.
This is where it will happen. It will be the High Matron and I in here. My job, specifically within this or the ordeal, is to make sure that you survive the process. That is my sole responsibility. I keep you alive and well. The High Matron does the other half of the ceremony. She performs the purification. We will not lay hands upon you unless something goes wrong enough that I have to lay hands to keep you alive.
It's up to you, Alnock.
May I speak with my comrades for a moment?
Sure, I have no reason to rush this. And he takes you back out into the main cathedral room, closes the door to the chair room that I'm sure has a cool name in their religion that you don't know yet.
Right.
The purification chamber.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
It does. It does. You're
like,
right.
like none of what we're talking about
Yes,
sounds
none of this is
peachy
scary.
keen.
We just walked straight into the enemy's fucking den.
I know.
Is he leaving us alone in the cathedral?
Yeah,
for a
he
minute?
bats
Oh no, he's still standing right there.
It's like,
Listen, we were
But
talking
enemy,
in
what are you
front
talking
of
about? What's going on?
Sister Aether before. I just want to make sure.
Sister Aether has also left. She got you here
Yeah.
and she left immediately.
so it's just us.
Yeah, well, you're alone. It's a fairly large cathedral.
Right.
There were two monks by the main door,
Okay.
and the High Patron moves far enough away that you're reasonably comfortable. As private as you're gonna get.
Okay. It's going to speak very quietly.
Yeah, we're
He's
gonna have
say,
to whisper. I agree.
This is my vote. We kill these two high priests right now,
Okay.
and then we try to get the hell out of here before the other monks can gang up on us, and know that we've landed a blow to a Voritar, and then we figure out what to do about your lycanthropy later.
The Lord was apparently planning.
Yeah,
on
but we're
a
not
house
ready
call.
to. We're not ready to take those guys, but we can
We are
probably
not.
take these two. That's my vote. Now, whatever you decide to do, I'll go with it. But I don't think that anything good can possibly come of this.
I have a tendency to 100% agree with you.
I
I
think
am
But not
worried.
this time.
I think
The
it
reason
might
I'm
be
worried is
trading one
we're
curse for another.
Right where we don't want to fucking be. We're going to fight this fucking thing. Guy, whatever the hell it is.
We should
the
maybe
new
not-
God.
You know, we should maybe speak vaguely while we're standing in the chamber where they receive the message of the Lord.
Yeah, he knows a lot of shit he has no business knowing.
Oops.
How would he find that out, though? Like, it makes no sense unless this Ashraphael thing has been watching us.
They have no reason to know who any of us are, let alone me. Sure, I killed 3 dudes in a fucking field, but
I'm mostly saying like future plans. If they're hearing from this guy, he might be listening in. That's all.
I think
It already knows about her.
Yeah,
stuff,
how
and we don't
about
know all
that? And that is
apparently.
not like
no one should know about that except for us.
unless my guy's involved with these guys.
what it sounds
Which
like.
is
Unless
not
your guy
great.
is one of these guys.
Yeah, I'm not loving that either, okay? But I don't really have a choice as far as I can tell at the moment. But Keys is a bigger problem, so let's focus on Almach.
But if I
Way to
don't,
deflect.
Yes, let's focus
we
on
don't cure the
Walmart here.
if we don't rid me of this curse, I will change at the full moon.
Right? And like Emery confidently said, we can probably take care of it, maybe.
We can figure it out.
Because she confidently said we can probably maybe take
Probably,
care
maybe,
of it.
sort of,
That's
kind of.
super confident.
No, I think we can figure it out.
We've got a bunch of rope. We'll tie your ass up.
Because that'll work.
We don't know that it won't.
The Fae did say as long as I don't give in to the beast, I will maintain myself when I'm not turned.
If
Right.
Which
Also,
means for 1 day out of the month, we have to find a way to subdue me in some way. Until we find another way to cure this.
I hate to
I'm
throw a
willing.
wrench in that thought process, though, but the Fae are also the ones who sent us here.
This is very true.
I would just like to point that out.
And the fucking spider den. We went
Yeah,
in there
they
to get
also
a
sent us
rock
there.
that we don't know what that does,
If-
by the way.
If I
Pretty.
remember correctly,
pretty.
the Fae simply said there was someone here that had
That
the
might be able to.
that had the capabilities to remove. the
Oh,
curse.
those
Yeah.
are the mystical people who are super vague and shit.
Yeah, just enough for us to hang ourselves with.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean that we won't find other people who have this capability or
That's true.
Right?
Assume
Who knows?
this
One of us might
capability
stumble
ourselves.
across some who do stuff that
So,
can cure you.
if you
here.
can hold out and we can figure it out for now, we can find a solution later.
Promise me you will keep Jacob far away from me.
Yes.
Promised.
We will do that.
Best.
But what's the plan to get out of here? I don't know why I changed deck sets.
Your New Yorker's showing.
Forget about it.
James
how-
goes mobster when he's stressed.
Apparently.
We also have no idea how strong the high priestess and priest are.
Or the yoked monks.
What if we just walk away?
We might be
It's-
better
I
off just
don't-
leaving.
That's gonna work.
We
Don't
We're
can
know
also
if
gonna
that's
get
an
the
still.
option.
horses. Our gear is
Right.
over there.
We can still
That's why
We
try.
got it here with us.
That's why I insisted on the tour.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we knew how to get out.
I mean, at this point, there's really no reason why we can't just say thanks, but no thanks.
Because these guys, these are the enemy.
They
This
might
is-
they
these are
might
the bad
try to
guys.
stop Olmok from leaving just because their god says that.
Their god wills it. I don't know. I don't know
But-
an appropriate answer.
That doesn't mean we have to start the fight.
Let
That
them,
doesn't mean
let-
we can finish it either.
I
let
think we
those
can.
who feel purified cast the first stone. I guess.
I
What transport?
was gonna say, what keeps you up
That
at
was in
night all night?
self-defense. That shouldn't be held against me.
That was self-defense singing.
I'm doing this because I'm threatened.
This is fine.
Didn't know that about myself until it happened.
I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this.
Stop making me happy.
Said Jeffrey Dahmer. Anyway,
I was gonna say, yeah, being a psychopath is hard.
We can
I
dip.
didn't even feel bad about it later.
We went to bed afterwards.
I didn't even flinch, bro. I slept like a baby that night. Anyway,
We killed those people and we're worried about coffee.
yeah.
But yeah, self-defense.
I felt bad about it.
They
So
started.
did Emery.
I
did
felt
not. I
guilty
felt
about it
zero
the
remorse.
whole
But
time we were asking people for trading.
It's war. Everything's fair. We can do what we need to. Yeah,
But I think we should just get out of here.
They have these things called war crimes that prove that not all things are fair, but
In order to
war
do-
crimes only existed because of the Geneva Convention. As far as I know, that doesn't exist anymore.
Also,
They
war
didn't
crimes
sign
only
the
up.
Geneva
Exactly.
It only applies to, like, so,
That's also true.
Is he not? No, whatever. That's not the point.
Doesn't matter. We're not here to have a semantic
I
argument.
am no
about a
longer
different...
active Navy. The Navy doesn't exist.
Yeah, they're not gonna fucking draft you into combat.
They might
As the
have
elves once
sailboats.
said, there is no water. You are a bad Navy.
But anyway, in all seriousness, we should probably get the hell out of here.
Yes.
I changed accents again.
He does. He turns New Yorker Bob when he gets
stressed.
James,
Learning
calm
things about you
down.
every day.
That's now a new unlocked character trait that has to continue.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. It will,
It'll
whether I
happen
want it to or not.
Okay, well, let's go get our stuff and let's just go.
Yeah.
And if they try to
if they
stop
try to
us, then
stop
we'll
us-
just break out into song again.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what happens.
Friends, have we made a decision?
Jesus. Sorry.
Why are you back? No one called for you.
Whoa.
You are in my house, sir.
This is fair, but you said you'd give us some privacy,
did.
and you're breaking said privacy.
And now I am ready for your answer.
Thanks.
What's your name?
I am the High Patron.
I said your name, not your title.
I am
Name
the
is
High
High?
Patron.
So
So we're gonna
Mr.
play like
High.
that, huh?
They have the whole time we've been here.
Fair enough. Well,
I asked
strap
him,
in, kids, because this is about to get ugly. I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself,
You
and we're
could
gonna
have
leave.
just said no, thank
And
you.
with that, the burly monks by the door bar it.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and roll for initiative.
Yeah.
You
I'm pretty
could've just
sure
said no,
they would've-
thank you.
Character. I've got to be in character.
I love it.
That
I
was in
love
character.
it. I love it. I approve.
Emery approves of this message.
Motherfucker, I am rolling dog shit for initiative.
Emery's not necessarily down with churches.
I would just like to point
Go
out
around
that they
the
would probably
table
have closed
now.
the door.
21.
That's not bad.
Elliot,
25.
Okay, not as good as that.
hold on.
I'm really good at starting fights, but I do not take the first swing. I rolled a 6.
Fuck, bro. You are terrible at initiative.
Yep.
James
Dirty 20.
and Emery.
Don't change mine. I also rolled a 6.
The two most ready. All right, that's funny.
We're ready for a fight, and we can't
Fuck
roll
you.
for shit.
Apparently, I'm too close to the door. I can't sleep my weapon. I don't know.
And
Team
that's the
bad
end of the episode.
initiative.
Oh
I
my
had a
god.
feeling.
Ugh!
I was down for the cure until I was like, oh, this is where fuckface lives.
I don't
hate
know
this
why.
so much.
Theater of the Mind is Jeremy Arfston as Elliot Brandybane, Amanda Arfston as Mel Kelly, that's me, Michael Burnell as Olnok Varger Johnson, Michael Downs as James O'Brien, Casey Weingarten as Emery Lee, and Mike Schock as your Dungeon Master. We release new episodes every 2 weeks, so our next episode will release on
August 18th.
If you want to follow us on our social media, like super important, and our website can be found on our link tree, which can be found in the podcast description. Also in the podcast description, you can find a link to Pinecast, as well as our referral code to get you 40% off your first 4 months of a paid membership, as well as our referral link to Epidemic Sound, which gets you a 1-week trial period to their excellent platform. The music this week was sourced from Epidemic Sounds, who we are not sponsored by under the Creative Commons license. The songs used in order are
Unsettling by Philip Ayre. Probable Cause by Xperia. Under the Dome by Philip Ayres. No Redemption by Christopher Mote Levson. Tyranny by Dream Cave. Disturbing Call by Xperia. Firebreak by Edward Carl Hansen. We Are the Ones by Max Anson. Paracosmic Lifeform by Etienne Roussel. And Blood Money by Hampus Macelius. We also used 115 BPM, 125 BPM, 101 BPM, 65 BPM, and Cinematic 54 BPM from the Sound Effects Library.
The Theater of the Mind theme, intermission, and outro were written by Mike Schock. Extremely talented. Theater of the Mind is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidences are used in a fictitious manner. Incidences? Is that a word? Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. We're talking about you, Shamrock Sheep.
It's not the same.
It's not.
It's not, but I can honestly tell you that anytime we talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, let's go to the Shamrock Sheep and get a beer.
Forever Shamrock Sheep.
It will never be
It'll
the
never
right
be its
name
actual
ever.
name ever again. Yeah, I get it.
So it's not.
Even if a new business
You wanna
moves
close that?
in,
Yeah, right.
it's still going to be called the Shamrock
Still the
Sheep.
Shamrock Sheep.